Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, I want to take a look at Alolan Ninetales. Now, we've got a winning list which has come out of Japan. This is a good deck, and it started winning tournaments. It's all good stuff. But I think this might be a legitimately good deck. I think this might be the next really good non-GX deck. Let's take a look, shall we? It's all built around the new Alolan Ninetales, which is going to be coming out in Cosmic Eclipse. Now, yes, as always, the list I've got is from Japan, because it's the only one that's unfortunately, they're the only ones I've actually got the card right now. But as always, I shall talk you through the list, tell you what changes you need to make it work over here. So what we do is we start off with the new Alolan Ninetales. And it's got a single attack for 0 energy, so yes, we are not playing a single energy card in this deck. And it does 10 damage for each Pokemon tool card in your discard pile. And the important thing here is, there is no limit. This isn't like the Zoroark that came around in Team Up, whereby you do 20 damage for every Pokemon in your discard pile up to a maximum of 10, then you do 200 damage and stop. No, you can do as much as you like. As much as you can get tools in the discard pile. And that really is the deck. Simple as that. You've got a Stage 1 Ninetales, you're not going for any energy whatsoever, and you want to get a whole bunch of tools in the discard pile. Simple as that. So where do we go here? Well, the good news is we have got a lot of really good options here. But first, a quick word on the other Pokemon in the deck. Now, obviously, the Japanese list plays the Alolan Vulpix that searches out your Pokemon. We don't have that anymore, but I don't think it's a huge loss, because the Alolan Vulpix we've got now has free retreat if there is a fairy Pokemon in play, and this is a fairy Pokemon. And that's awesome, because it means that you can evolve your benched Vulpix into a Ninetales and then retreat your active if need be. So I really like that. I am down with this. It's kind of cool. And actually, as a side note here, we're hitting a pretty decent weakness, because you're hitting weakness on Dragon Pokemon, and Reshiram and Zekrom is going to be good by the time this comes out. And we've got the new Naganadel, which is seeing a lot of play, the one that came out in Unified Minds. So it's actually a really good, by the time this comes out, it's going to be a really good typing to actually hit. Now, in terms of the other Pokemon, we play a copy of Ditto Prism Star. You're playing a Stage 1 deck, you're going to play Ditto. And 2 copies, or a 2-2 line is probably a better way to phrase it, of the Zeb Striker. The one from Lost Thunder. Once during your turn, you may discard your hand and draw 4 cards. This is just a great way for getting tools in the discard. Get tools in your hand, discard them with Zeb Striker, job's a good un. But we also play a couple of Rotom. Let's not forget that Rotom have, pretty much all of them, or all the ones that came out at that time anyway, have the really nice ability whereby if you have 9 tools or more in your discard pile, you don't pay for the attacks. So it's free, just like Alolan Ninetales, and you get to continue playing 0 energy in your deck. Now, we played a Psychic Rotom, does 120 damage for essentially 0 energy, and this is huge because you're hitting weakness on Mewtwo and Mew. Now, no, you're not quite doing enough to get a one-hit KO, but we have other ways we can try and play around with this, but you're still doing a huge amount of damage. It's still a great attack. And we play Frost Rotom that does 10 damage plus 20 more for each energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. And this should get you a pretty nice one-hit KO on Reshiram and Charizard. Now, because you're hitting for weakness, you essentially need to be doing 140, but you can only do an odd number, so you need to do 150, so that's 7 energy. If your opponent has 7 energy attached to all of their Pokemon, you do 150 doubled is 300, you get a KO. If they've got 6 energy on their Pokemon, then you'll do 260, and I might as well spoil the surprise, we're playing Shrine of Punishment. Shrine of Punishment will get a one-hit KO. Incidentally, we're also playing Wonder Labyrinth Prism Star, which will force your opponent to attach an extra energy to attack, which just helps with Frost Rotom. And sure, maybe your opponent doesn't have 6 energy on the field with Reshiram and Charizard, but, well, they kind of need 4 energy just to attack, and they're using Welder to run their deck, and they need to attach energy with Welder to draw cards, at least one, and if they don't attach enough energy, and you knock out their only Pokemon, they're out the game, so chances are they probably are going to actually go about doing this. They're probably going to put enough energy on, and now not only are you using Alolan Ninetales to attack for free, but you're hitting for weakness against 2 of the very best decks in the format. As a side note, Frost Rotom will also hit a one-hit KO against Blacephalon, which is still an incredible deck. This is great. Alolan Ninetales is a really good non-GX attacker, but the Rotom come in here and hit great weaknesses as well. Not to mention hitting a great weakness with Alolan Ninetales. Frankly, the only weakness you really want to hit that you're not here is you're not hitting weakness on Pikachu and Zekrom. And that is a little bit sad, and I'm not aware of any free attackers that can actually hit that, and you really don't want to play energy in this deck. But you can 2-hit KO with single prize Pokemon. You'll be alright, ladies and gentlemen. There are other Rotom we can play, but we're not too worried about them today. So then the question becomes, alright, what tools are we actually playing here? And we need to start off with the Fairy Charms. Yeah. You know how I said you weren't hitting weakness on Pikachu and Zekrom? Well, that's true, but we got Fairy Charm Lightning. And Fairy Charm Lightning makes you immune to damage from EX and GX Pokemon that are Lightning. Great! Well, that's going to help you beautifully here. Now, in terms of the Fairy Charms, honestly, you can go for whichever route you want here. There are a bunch out there. Fairy Charm Psychic will give you immunity to Mewtwo and Mew, but you're better off with Fairy Charm Ability, because that will also help with stuff like Naganadel, any with an ability. Fairy Charm Dragon will help you against Reshiram and Zekrom, which it can be pretty crucial. And you got stuff like Fairy Charm UB to help you against Blacephalon and the other Ultra Beasts. You've got a bunch of options in terms of Fairy Charms. But there are some other tools we play here as well. Now, obviously in Japan, they're playing Choice Band, and the loss of Choice Band hurts, but honestly here, I don't think you should worry too much about it. The Fairy Charms are going to help this deck immeasurably. I am totally okay with that. We also play Bodybuilding Dumbbells here. I mean, it gives you extra HP as a stage 1. Your main Pokemon here is a stage 1. You get an extra 40 HP. That sounds good to me. Ear-ringing Bell is actually a really good option here. You attach it to one of your Pokemon, and if they get damage, even if they're KO'd, you can fuse the defending Pokemon. You'll often in this deck need just a little bit of extra damage, and we are playing Shrine of Punishment, but we've also got Ear-ringing Bell to confuse them here. And speaking of extra damage, how about Giant Bomb? Giant Bomb is great here. What it does, if you would take 180 or more damage, then your opponent takes 10 damage counters. And incidentally, right, 10 damage counters combined with Alolan Ninetales should allow you to one-hit KO pretty much anything you like, even if you're not actually hitting for weakness, which is great. Your opponent won't always do 180 damage. Sometimes they'll be able to get around it. You know, something like Pikachu and Zekrom will generally hit 150. But it falls off at the end of your turn. So even if you don't actually use it, it goes into your discard pile. And oh look, now it's doing an extra 10 damage for Alolan Ninetales, so that's quite nice. Now, you can play U-turn board here. We like U-turn board because when it gets discarded, it goes back to your hand, basically guaranteeing that you've always got a way to retreat your Pokemon. Remember, you're not playing any energy, so your Pokemon need to be able to get out the active. So even though U-turn board is a bit of a pain because it doesn't go to the discard, it does if you discard it from your hand with Zebstrika, but not from play. But I think you do need to play it here. And this deck also plays a Stealthy Hood. Stealthy Hood just protects you from abilities, essentially. I would be quite tempted here to play a copy of Spell Tag onto Rotom. So you're hitting 120 for 0 energy, and if they actually KO you, you get to drop some damage. It doesn't really matter which ones you play here. You're going to want to adjust it to your meta, but I love the options. And then obviously you need to play Adventure Bag. Adventure Bag searches out your tools either to use them, or to get them in your hand to discard them with Zeb Striker. Now, in terms of other trainers, the only other one I think really important here is Hapu. Hapu is amazing in this particular deck, because Hapu lets you look at the top 6 cards of your deck, you put 2 in your hand and discard the other 4. But you want to discard your tools as fast as you can, so any tools you find with Hapu, you just discard them. Job's a good 'un. And obviously you're playing great catcher here, because it lets you gust a GX or EX from your opponent's bench into their active. In terms of what we lose to the rotation, the only cards at all that we're worried about losing here are Nest Ball and Ultra Ball. They're the only real cards we're even slightly concerned about. Pokemon Search will be a bit more of an issue, and that sucks. You've always got stuff like Professor Round's Lecture, which will help you out in the early game, or Professor Oak's Setting if you prefer. Honestly, yes, it's a little bit of a pain, but you can make it just to be that little bit faster, a few more items, whatever it is. The fact of the matter is, this is a phenomenal deck. You've got built-in draw power. You've got free attackers. You're not playing any energy. You're hitting 3 of the best weaknesses in the game. And you're only ever giving up 1 prize at a time. Tell me how this is bad. I adore this deck. And I think this is going to be a genuine contender when Cosmic Eclipse releases. I, for one, am a little bit excited. But I would like to know what you think about it. So please be kind enough to let me know in the comments section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWazzy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WazzyPlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games that don't even have any Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.